People of the internet, it's Gabriel here and I welcome you to WAD. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the health features that have been embedded in the new IOS17. Well, the IOS17 beta has been out for a while now and people are actually testing it. Well, before I do that, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Leave a comment and also don't forget to click on the like buttons so that the YouTube algorithm may think that my videos are actually doing well so that they can share it to the other people in the rest of the world. Well, if you are a returning subscriber, I really appreciate what you do for me. Trust me, and I hope you are taking a lot out of my videos. Quickly, let's get into it. So the IOS17 beta has been out for a while now, but then I am actually not a big fan of Apple products. One may say it's because I don't have money. Well, I have my reasons. So I haven't tested it yet, but then there are a lot of things this can do. In today's video, I'm just going to talk about the health features because it does a lot of things. Down from sharing your contact by just touching an iPhone with another iPhone to auto-correction that have been worked upon a little bit. But in today's video, like I said earlier on, it's all about health. So the IOS17 beta have been out for a while now. People have been testing it, but the original version will finally come out 2024 in September when the iPhone 15 finally comes out. So if you are an iPhone user, you are an iPad user as well as iWatch user, you can try this thing before it finally comes out, the software before it finally comes out. Mental health is something I talk about every day. Well, people neglect it because it's not their physical health. To me, when you talk about health, health is about your physical well-being and your mental well-being. So you see why it is very important to also consider your mental health. So this is the same reason why Apple has realized that there is a need for you to know about your mental health because it's all about your health. And so they've embedded in the IOS17 the mental health feature. Well, this actually is a feature which informs you about your mental health. So this is how it works. Anytime in the day, whatever you are doing in the day, wherever you are, a notification pops up on your phone and asks you, how is your mood at that moment? Well, it ranges between unpleasant and pleasant. So it's up to you to slide between unpleasant to pleasant. Now, this is actually associated to whatever you are doing at the moment because there are some other few questions that you may be asked. And then you definitely have to fill in that data. So what happens is that, let's say for instance, you are at a party and then the notification pops up and you are asked, how are you feeling at the moment? And you feel pleasant, you slide to pleasant, and over time, these questions will keep popping up and then you keep answering it. And in a particular given time, this data will be accumulated and sent back to you to inform you about the fact that this is the moment where you are actually pleasant. Maybe when you are with families, that's when you are actually happy, so that you keep being with family in order to keep your mental health in check. So I think it's something that is really, really beneficial when it comes to even going to see your therapist, because they therefore know what will actually make you happy so as to encourage you to keep doing it. But then when you do something that does not make you feel pleasant and then it's recorded over time, you definitely would avoid that so that you can actually reduce the risk of aggravating your mental health. So this is how it is, and this is how beneficial it is to everybody. Well, we will talk about the privacy of your data because I feel like a lot of data are actually going out there when it comes to, collecting this kind of things because they get to know where you are at every moment. They get to know what you do at every moment. You get it? So it's a lot of data which would have to be, kept in private. So we will talk about it, how Apple actually store your data so as it doesn't get into the wrong hands. The next biggest feature that have been added to this particular software is the vision feature. Well, myopia is actually considered as the leading cause of visual impairment globally. But then there is actually a way you can reduce the risk of having myopia by staying in the daylight for a number of minutes in a day. Or better still, increase the distance between your eyes and the device you are using. Well, it's actually believed that the longer you look at a device or book, the higher you have the chances of actually having myopia. And so, what is this software about? So on your phone, you have what you call the Face ID. There's actually a camera known as the True Depth camera that detects your face to tell the phone belongs to you. Now, with this same particular, camera, it can detect the distance between your device and your eyes. So as to, if you are moving it closer to your eye, it tells you that, look, your phone is so close to your eye, so you should distance it a little bit so that you reduce the risk of having myopia. Now, what happens is that within 12 inches distance, that's when it informs you. I don't know how 12 inches distance is in centimeters. Well, if you can do the conversion, you can put it in the comment section so that others will benefit. But then that is how it informs you about, the distance you have from your eyes to your device. It is very helpful if you are someone who uses your phone for a very long time, because I know day in, day out, most of the time we use our devices and sometimes we get addicted and even forget about it. For example, taking TikTok. Secondly, it is known that staying in the daylight for some number of minutes actually help reduce the risk of acquiring myopia. Myopia is prone to children than adults, and that's why there's a need for you to allow your kid to stay outdoor for some number of minutes. Well, that doesn't mean you should let your child stay outdoor for the whole day or whatever, but then some few minutes is enough, which I'll tell you later on in the video. So what your device does is that it informs you that, look, the number of hours you've spent indoor is too much, and so you should go out, stay in the daylight for some few minutes, and then when these minutes are up, they inform you to get back indoors, because you definitely wouldn't want to stay outdoor for that long. Obviously, children don't have phones, but then they can afford the watches, which is the IOS17. So what happens is that when you have this watch connected to your iPhone and your child goes out, and then it's past, let's say, 80 to 120 minutes is enough for your child to stay in the daylight to actually lower his or her risk of acquiring myopia. Your phone informs you that the number of minutes your child have been out is enough to actually lower the risk of he or she acquiring myopia. And so that's how it basically works, which I think is very, very important, because our phone is actually our eyes, and everybody would agree with me. Sometimes people wake up in the morning, the first thing they do is phone. But then if this is actually embedded in this software to help us prevent myopia, I think it's a good thing. And I think it's something that will help us. Before I will talk about the privacy of data, I would also want to talk about the smallest features that have been added. And one of them is the medication cycle. Well, you know that kind of behavior when you don't know when to take your medicine, especially when it comes to antibiotics. Well, if you don't take it on time, your bacteria actually forms resistance against the medication if you take it in the future. That's why there's a need for you to take it on time and in time. So the software has this feature which tells you when to take your medication if you put the right time over there. And even if your phone is on silence, it still goes beyond that to tell you to take your medication. It's just like prompting you to take your medication, which I feel is very, very important when it comes to your health, because most of the time people forget to take their medications. People don't know how to go about this stuff. And it's something that is really good. And I don't want to talk much about it. Now, let's talk about your privacy. Well, as much as a lot of data is going in there and you don't know what Apple is actually using your data for, and then when it gets into the wrong hand, you know what can happen, right? So that's why there's a need for you to know about what is happening to your data. So Apple actually claims that your data is actually safe with them. And so you can only get access if you can Face ID your phone. And sometimes too, you can put the necessary code needed. But then, even if you want to, share this data with a third party, there's a need for them to know your code in order to get access to your data. So it's kind of, private, but then there is still this fear of putting your data out there, which, let's take, for instance, the mental health. Let's say when you are, at a particular point in time, you are, let's say, you are at a location and you share this data. Someone would know about this location and come and attack. Hey, but then we do all this thing on social media each and every day, where you tag your location, wherever you are, wherever you take your pictures. So I think it's not a big deal, but then it is about your health once again. And I think this is something that will really help in checking our health. So if you enjoyed this video, give this video a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I really want to ask you guys a question so that you can put it in the comment section. So between Apple product and Android product, Well, I wouldn't want to say Android product. Between an iPhone and an Android phone, which one do you prefer? Put it in the comment section so that I will know if I should comment about the health features that are actually embedded in the Android software. This has been it. See you guys in the next one.